Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Bashem Rakakwadash. My name is Yakalba from Plain Tables Camp in Philly. And you had somebody in the comment board asked about high holy days and whether they're keeping them right or not. And they've been, listening for a while, a long time. Not sure exactly what time frame that is. And need some clarification on what they're supposed to do. And it's simple, but it has some layers to it. So I'll do a video on it. Hopefully I answer your question. All right, so in Israel, in ancient Israel, you had the law that had to be kept, and some things were unto death. Now, if you didn't keep it, you would get put to death for it. All right, and I'm referring to specifically the Sabbath. Specifically the Sabbath right here, and it would occur once a week for a full month or a full moon. All right, and then it would transition to the next moon, and you would consecutively keep it once per week. All right, so you would work 6 days, so the labor and do all that work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Now today that's impossible to do. All right, most jobs, I don't know where you're from, well, it's a general video, but most jobs on earth you don't get to choose the days you get to work. All right, so that's not how this current system is set up, where you can just choose what day you work. And because of how the days are set up on our the calendar, I forget, Julian, Gregorian calendar, I forget which calendar we're using today in America. It's set up against or it's not in accord with the biblical Sabbath, which are the new moons. All right, so when a new moon come in, you will worship the Sabbath. I mean, you will go either to a building, or you would have it amongst in a tent or amongst family members. And you would have someone reading the scriptures. All right, and you would have a service, reading to the congregation the law. That's where congregation comes from. It means with the flock, congregation. All right, so the congregation will be gathered in various forms, depending on what time period we're in, what area, where we were at. Either in a tent or a building, or it could be even outside or in someone's home. All right, and you would have a preacher or a priest. All right, read the scriptures, read the law. All right, so you basically learn about keeping the law, what to do, what not to do. Current events. All right, prophecies. All right, Exodus 20 and 10. But today we can't keep the Sabbath because it's not aligned with with most people's 99% of people's work schedules. All right, so you can't keep it in that fashion. So if we can't keep it in the exact fashion, we have to do the next best thing. All right, so no work shall be done, meaning that you can't cook, and you're not supposed to collect money for your wages and do manual labor. All right, whatever you would do to earn money, you're supposed to cease from doing that. All right, and technically, we can't really keep the Sabbath exactly how our ancestors biblically kept it because of the current state of affairs. All right. So it says, "No, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant." So even your servants weren't supposed to work with a stranger, which are the Gentiles. Just look up on the playlist, go to Gentiles, and you should have plenty of information on who the Gentiles are. Now, the Gentiles in short are the Israelites that didn't stay with the main camp. All right, they traveled abroad and they lived in other countries. That's who the stranger was. And sometimes they would come back to the land for high holy days, or they would just relocate. They were living out in a like say Greece or whatever, or Africa. They would come back to the land of Israel. All right, but since they weren't born here, or they were not with the main Israelites in Israel for a long time, they became a stranger. I mean, events would go on and they wouldn't know about them. So they became estranged. You look up the word estranged, meaning become alienated. All right. It says, for in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, that was the Elohim, the angels, and the Lord, Yahweh Shai. And on the seventh day he rested. So you pretty much get the point. All right, so that's in the law. All right. This is Colossians 2 and 26. Colossians 2 and 16. It says, so let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days. All right. So when you first come into the faith, you really are unaware of what you're involved in, how serious it is, what should be taken a little more serious, what you should focus on. All right. So what Paul is saying, he said, when you first come in, you have to just learn the basics and then build yourself up. All right. So Paul's not going to put, when the disciples, the apostles, they're not going to put a burden on newcomers that they can't handle. All right. And then Paul goes on to say, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Mashiach. All right. So in the kingdom, we'll be able to keep all the high holy days absolutely perfect. All right. Our calendar is going to be based on a new moon. Well, we're not going to be working anyway. He's going to be enjoying ourselves all day and impressing Esau, so-called white man, all day. All right. So if you can't keep the Sabbath perfectly, I can't really judge you if you can't keep the Sabbath perfectly. All right. Yeah, here's a prophecy. It says, Judges 5 and 11 says, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, which is slavery, our captivity, because we're in captivity. All right. When we were in Egypt, do you think we kept the Sabbath? No. We were working. All right. There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates. All right. So the key word here is rehearse. No, not that verse. Rehearse. So that's what we're doing. We're rehearsing. So yeah, we can keep the Sabbath, we can keep the Passover, but it's not going to be perfect. The lamb that we're supposed to eat during the Passover is supposed to be a kid, I believe 1 year without blemish, if I'm not mistaken. This is the more focusing on the blemish part. We have no control over cattle. All right. To recount, to rehearse. Some public performances, simple ass definitions. Come on now. All right. Well, you can say that. You can say that. Yeah. Practice to practice. Let's just do that. The actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method, as opposed to theories and relating to. So we're practicing. So we're putting it. Not working. If you can't work, what we do, we abstain from cooking. All right. Otherwise, if we were to actually keep the Sabbath exactly how we're supposed to keep it, every single month we would be taking another day off, and our working schedules or how the workforce is scheduled, in America and really around the world, you don't get to pick your days like you work as a cable technician or electrician. You can't pick your days when you work. All right. Only thing you really can kind of pick your days is if you do like a Uber. That's really it. And how many people do Uber? Like less than the 10th of a percent of people. And everybody can't do Uber or Uber type jobs. It's not even possible. All right. So you first start, just keep it simple. Abstain from cooking. If you got to work, all right, at least do that. Let's see where we at. So we're rehearsing. or rehearsing the righteous acts, which is the law of Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the villages of Israel. All right. So let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink. Let's start rolling, right? Or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days. All right. So just because you can't keep them perfectly, we're not going to come down on you and say you ain't a man of the Lord because you got to work on the Sabbath. All right. Most people on earth in America, I don't know where you're from, but you have to work. You don't get to choose the days you work. I mean, I shouldn't have to really stress that. All right. So we're gonna move on. Now, that's not to say that we're not bound to keep certain laws, all right, that the Lord made, so we wouldn't pollute ourselves, all right, because when the Lord returns, we have to be a vessel fit for use, fit for salvation, so we can't be filthy. All right, so we have to do our best. We have to rehearse. We have to practice. All right, so this is 2 Peter 2:20. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of Yahweh, of the Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. All right, so pollution. We're going to look up 3393. We got defilement. And like if you eating pork, eating scavengers, all right, we have no excuse. We don't have to do that. It's not work. All right. Murder. All right. Adultery, stealing, etc. All right. Vices, foulness, which contaminates one in his intercourse with the ungodly mass of mankind, meaning being worldly. The ungodly mass of mankind. All right. Miasma. A highly unpleasant or unhealthy smell or vapor. All right. So the reason why Yahweh Shai woke us up, the Lord, was to pull us, to save us. Yahweh Shai Ratzah, I mean the Lord's will, Yahweh Shai's will, to save us. All right. So we have to carry ourselves a certain way. All right. So we rehearse the righteous acts. If you're just starting off and this is all new to you, I don't expect you to read the Hebrew. So you can just do all that in English. Let's go through in that order. All right. And I end it with this. All right. This is Ephesians 2:4. But the power which is rich in mercy for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Mashiach, Yahushua, for it's like by grace ye are saved. All right. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of the power. All right. Maybe look up grace. You got G5485. Charax. All right. We're the Christians. All right. So this is the best definition I can find that I believe this is the best one. It says, of the merciful kindness by which the power exerts his holy influence upon souls, turns them to Mashiach, Yahushua, keeps, strengthens, increases them in Israelite faith and knowledge, affection, and kindles them to exercise the Christian virtues. So in other words, grace is a time period in which the Lord gives us the knowledge. All right. Key words here. All right, so that's pretty much a lesson. So this is active. It's not static. All right, those are two key words right there. Well, exerts his holy influence upon souls. All right. Keeps, strengthens, and increases. So over time, you'll understand more and more and more. All right. So when you're ready to, get everything in a Hebrew, and like to do ceremonies if you amongst a congregation or amongst like a family. I don't know if you by yourself or you have a husband or wife, or you have children and they're all, in the faith, then you can have your own Sabbath services. All right. I'm by myself most of the time, so, and my significant other is not in the faith, so I'm not having a Sabbath service with her. So, and I'm going to be by myself most of the time on the Sabbath. So I'll just be doing a lesson, reading prayers, burning incense, resin, things of that nature. And you can look, for other videos. Other brothers may have done other videos, but that's pretty much the gist of it. The main part, I guess. How do you keep the Sabbath? Well, you abstain from working. I'll go back to the beginning of the video. You don't cook. All right. But if you got to work, then you got to work. But so abstain from cooking, buying and selling. All right. And reading prayers. That's pretty much the core of keeping the Sabbath. And then you have the Passover. You're supposed to have the lamb. Read this, go through the Sabbath service. Then you have a ceremony. All right. Now, if you want to keep the Passover, we read Deuteronomy 6:24. Well, Numbers 6:24 to 26. That's it there. Now, I'm not sure if our new one is public information, so, but pretty much just the gist of it right here. These are the prayers. This would be kind of the order we would do it in. You had to have a ram's horn, a Torah, a menorah, again, if you really want to keep, these holy days, you gotta give diligence and research to find out what these things are that I'm mentioning if you don't know. All right, I'm not gonna just go over what is a menorah, what is a Torah, how to put a menorah on a table. If you're serious, incompetent, it shouldn't be really very difficult. Right there. Again, if you're by yourself, that doesn't make sense in my mind anyway to perform this whole ceremony by yourself. But if you with at least two more people who are in the faith, obviously, you don't have people that are not in the faith attending any holy day whatsoever if they're not in the faith. Psalms 121. Read in English, and don't put this this star or shield on any of your books, garments, or anything. This is an old one. The new ones don't have that symbol on there anymore. All right, Lord's Prayer. I believe it's Matthew 6th chapter. See that. Ten Commandments, Exodus 20. Curses. So that's pretty much what we do. I may be missing one thing, but that's pretty much what we do. I believe that's the whole thing, though. All right, this is the old one. All right, so you evolve, you'll get better over time. If all that wasn't clear, for Sabbath service, Passover, you can type in GMS info doc channel 1274. and this will come up. You can click onto it, type in Passover. Right there, you can see 20 Sabbath service from a year ago. What is this 2010 service? Sabbath service, Passover service. I think they're the same exact video, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. You can click on the video, you can see what we do, how we perform the ceremony. And you have to make adjustments based upon how many people you have with you that are in the faith, not people that just want to observe. If you're not supposed to take part in the Passover, if you're not in the faith, fully in the faith, rooted and grounded. All right, that's 2 videos you can check out. I'll actually leave this in the description box. I'll copy this and put it in the description box. All right. You're going to need, a menorah, Torah, a Bible, couple Bibles, candlesticks to put in the menorah, and a table. You'll see in the video. So, hope that was helpful. Go back down to the. Hope that was helpful. Shalom.